What's up, guys? cnccraft.cf here, and today we are going to be checking out the Fleet Phantom Intel Escort. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Paragon. Its continuing mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out the Fleet Phantom Intel Escort, although I will be touching on these changes apply basically to all of the new Fleet Tier 6 ships. I think all of the Tier 6 ships that were released with Delta Rising, including the Intel ships, as well as the Pathfinder, the Guardian, and a few others, have all been given Fleet variants. These can be bought from the C-Store for 5 Fleet Ship modules, 20,000 Fleet credits, and some Fleet requisition stuff if you do not have the original versions. But if you do have the original versions, you can purchase the upgrade for a single Fleet Ship module. Now, I want to start this video off with a very special thanks to one of my viewers who donated the Fleet Ship module that I used to upgrade my Phantom. Very special thanks to you. You know who you are. I appreciate it a whole lot. You helped me get this video out way sooner than I would have been able to, so thank you so much for that. So, let's go ahead and get started, shall we, with an aesthetic overview. So from an aesthetic standpoint, the ships are pretty much identical to their standard variants. There are no major hull differences to speak of, so I'm not going to detail all of the different aesthetic qualities of this ship. You can check out my regular Phantom Intel Escort review for that. But I will show off, they now unlock both the Fleet and Fleet 2 skins. Now, I've never been a big fan of the Fleet skin, and this is no exception. It seems as though it can't make up its mind as to what it wants to be. It's sort of bluish, but not quite. It's sort of white-ish, but not quite. It's sort of grayish, but not quite. It seems to me like the Fleet skin really can't make up its mind about what it wants to be. But this is all personal opinion. I've just never been a big fan of the Fleet skin. But we also get the Fleet 2 skin, which is pretty similar, little bit lighter than the standard Fleet skin, but other than that, not that different. But besides that, we have all of the other aesthetic customizability and general appearance options as the standard a standard Phantom. So, again, instead of reading off all of the stats all over again, I'm just going to go over what is different between the Phantom and the Fleet Phantom. So, the Fleet Phantom offers 36,000 hull at level 50 and 41,000 at level 60, as opposed to the standard Phantoms only having 31,000 at level 50 and 38,000 at level 60. So you get that standard hull strength increase that comes with most Fleet ships. As far as that makes the ship fairly durable as far as escorts go, especially considering how small and maneuverable it is. I'm quite impressed with how well the ship survives in a battle scenario, especially considering its size, as I stated before. We get an extra console with this ship. We have unlocked with this ship you get an extra science console, putting you at 3 engineering, 3 science, and 5 tactical consoles. I do kind of wish they'd gone with an extra engineering console, as I probably would have made more use of it, but I do understand why the science console would make a little bit more sense. This is supposed to be an intelligence gathering ship, and science is good for that sort of stuff, but I'm not going to complain too much about that. Other than that, there aren't too many real differences to this ship. Besides, we also have our shield modifier improvement from 0.9 to 0.99. Not quite sure why they couldn't have just gone straight up to 1. But, hey, whatever. So, the only major change that was made to this ship, besides the hull improvements and the extra console, was the Starship Mastery now only has 4 traits. Now, I wasn't too sure about this when I first read it on the announcement, because it seemed to me at that point like you would only be able to use 4 traits on this ship, which would seem to make it inferior to the original variant. But not to worry, as that is not the case. Since a 5th Starship trait is a character-wide unlock, if you had the standard variant before you purchased the fleet one, and you managed to level up the standard variant to Tier 5 Mastery and unlock the trait would stay with you even if you did discharge the ship. So all this really means is that if you want to have the 5th trait, you can still have it, but you have to get the standard variant, which is a downside for those of you that just want to purchase the fleet version directly. You have to purchase the standard variant and level it up to Tier 5 Mastery. You can then dismiss it and purchase the fleet variant and get the 4 other Mastery unlocks, which are the same as before. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this video to talk about the Phantom in general as a ship. I've been meaning to do a follow-up to my original review for quite a long time, but I never really got around to it, so I'm going to do it now. So, the Phantom Intel Escort is a very, very solid and respectable ship, following the, I guess, sort of in the spirit of the Defiant. It follows in the Defiant's footsteps both aesthetically and in specifications. Its intel abilities make it incredibly easy to make the ship stealthy. Its integrated cloaking device, which is a new thing for Federation ships, at least it was when this came out. Well, not a cloaking device, but an integrated cloaking device, means, well, you can cloak. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. But the Commander Tactical Intel and the Lieutenant Science Intel mean that you can access pretty much any of the intel abilities that you want, and those include things like Evade Target Lock, Intel Team, Transport Warhead, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So while the cloak is not Battle Cloak, you should be able to employ intel abilities to be able to sneak around with relative ease, as well as the ship's integrated stealth bonus that just is passive all the time. Also, its active sensor array, which again applies to pretty much all of the Intel ships, means that you can, it's sort of like a subsystem targeting for escorts, I'd say, because you can still disable your opponent's subsystems, but you don't have to use beam weapons, and you get a bonus for having multiple of these in a team. So if you could get together a group of, say, 5 Intel ships, then what you potentially have, due to the stacking nature of the Gather Intel ability, you could potentially all surround a powerful target, decloak, launch your Gather Intel, use the decloak bonus to unleash some devastating firepower on the target, then all target a certain expose a certain vulnerability after just a few seconds, and potentially you would even be able to use in that configuration, you would potentially be able to get the 5-second decloak bonus. Then 3 seconds into that, you would unlock the exposed vulnerability, so you would have exposed vulnerability and the decloak bonus stacking, and then you could fire the phaser lance. And I haven't actually crunched the numbers on this, but just thinking about it seems to have some potentially scary results, especially if you go with 5 escorts, because the Phantom has some very, very powerful guns around the front. With its plenty of tactical abilities and its 5 tactical consoles, you have the potential for a ton of damage dealing, subsystem targeting, and stealthing if you could get together enough of these. Although that's not to say that it's a bad ship on its own. It's certainly a very respectable ship on its own. It has plenty of firepower, it has great stealth, as well as very powerful cannons up front, but it benefits a lot from teamwork, which is almost a command ship trait. It almost makes me wonder if the exposed vulnerability thing would be more for the command ship, since it benefits so much from being in a team. Oh well, it's a little bit late in the game for them to change it at this point. But long story short, the Fleet Phantom is a definite recommended buy for those of you that are itching for a Tier 6 Defiant. This is basically a Tier 6 Defiant. I mean, you can make this ship operate in pretty much the exact same way as the Defiant, and in a lot of ways a lot better, due to the hybrid stations, the better stealthing abilities, even better weaponry due to the more tactical abilities. So if you want a Tier 6 Defiant, this basically is a Tier 6 Defiant. So if you like firepower, stealth, and general awesomeness, then I definitely recommend the Fleet Phantom for you. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this brief update on the Fleet Phantom Intel Escort. My name is cnccraft.cf. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you haven't seen the original Fleet Phantom review, go check that out, where I go more in depth about the ship's stats and all that stuff. So anyways, guys, I guess that's about it for this video then. Goodbye.